stars that guide me towards salvation. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if to say, hurry boy, it's waiting there for you. Longing for some solitary company. I know that I must do what's right, as sure as Kilimanjaro rises like Olympus above the Serengeti. I seek to cure what's deep inside, frightened of this thing that I become.
We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they could send us to the morgue. Yeah, we are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones
Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned.
If it's Thursday, we're heading down under. I'm just playing. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, a show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. Today, as like most days, I've got a glorious panel here with me to break down the shit talking and shenanigans, the fight announcements and fuckery that has all fallen out of the MMA pipeline since we saw you wonderful folks last. I, of course, am your hostess with the mostest, the meter. The meter does many things if you're nasty. I have got Golf Tea Vapes and Slow Bake 420 here with me to break down all of the punchy kicky goodness you need to know about for this weekend's upcoming fuckery. Before we get into that, though, gentlemen, first and foremost, how the hell you doing over there?
Another lovely day in paradise.
Kind of feel the same. Busting ass at work, tired as fuck. We're back to fights. We're back to some decent fights. Enjoying that shit.
Fuck yeah, absolutely. So, as we like to do around here, to kick things off, we've got a little bit of news and recent events, fight confirmations, fight cancellations, rumors that have either been confirmed or denied or just fallen out of the news cycle completely, things that we feel are relevant for you guys to know about in this week's upcoming news cycle. So first and foremost, unfortunately, we've got to start, as we have a lot lately, tying back to last weekend. Last weekend's card, we said it right out of the gate on the show, was not the greatest to begin with, but it started as a 17 fight night card, and by the time it actually got to last Saturday for the fights to go off, it was barely clinging on for dear life as a 10 fight event. And even that almost didn't come to fruition because there were 3 fighters last weekend who missed weight, and some of them were pretty fucking significant. The first one, and the most minuscule, little odd, excuse me, Danny Barlow came in just a quarter of a pound over and made no attempt to recut the weight, and then said that the doctors told him that it would be too dangerous for him to have cut an extra quarter pound to make weight, which, I don't know. There's something more in that story unto itself. But then, excuse me, one of the biggest ones, again, for the second time in a row, Chepe Mariscal comes in 3 pounds over for his fucking fight. So again, almost no matter what he does in the ring, there's a fucking asterisk next to it once again. But the biggest one and the most egregious one, the one that I was kind of honestly a little surprised they let go, Chelsea Chandler came in 5 pounds over. She came in at 141 pounds for a 135-pound fight, and they still let it go and just took a percentage of the purse, which was quote unquote undisclosed, from all 3 of them, and then let the fights go on. So they didn't end up with a 7 fight card last weekend. But even then, we wouldn't have lost too terribly much with all 3 of those fights getting canceled. Excitement wise, there was 3 finishes out of all 10 fucking fights. But excuse me. That being said, moving forward from that's bullshit. We've got a couple of interesting fight announcements for the near future here coming up. This one, the first one, kind of confuses me the most out of all the ones that we've got. The pay-per-view champion, quote unquote, champions event for the PFL, October 19th, with the return of Francis Ngannou, with Cyborg taking on Larissa Pacheco, added a weird fight to it here. AJ McKee taking on the brand new prospect, Paul Hughes. I'm not sure if they're trying to, give Paul Hughes too much of a shove too early, or if AJ McKee might just have like 1 fight left on his contract and they're trying to get him out the fucking door to quit dealing with him, because we know for a fact he's a headache and a half, and so is his fucking dad. But that's a weird pairing, just style-wise, record-wise, just everything about that fight's a little strange to me. And then they're sticking it on this Champions pay-per-view card. I don't know. It's just a little odd. The next couple we've got here make pretty goddamn good sense to me. The first one, and one of the bigger ones, November 2nd has officially been confirmed by the UFC. It will be UFC Edmonton. The UFC is going back up to the Great White North, and they confirmed the main event for UFC Edmonton. It will be Rose Namajunas versus Aaron Blanchfield. That is undeniably going to be the number one contender match. Whoever comes out of that one is most likely getting the title shot next at 125 pounds, and rightfully so. The next one here, November 8th in Atlanta, One Championships 169 show on Amazon Prime. Added a very nice fight to it here. Adriano Moraes finally done with his trilogy with DJ, now going back to take on another rematch, the last fight that he had before the DJ trilogy with Danny Kingad, the rematch going down in Atlanta. Another great fucking fight, which is kind of what got everybody excited about the first DJ and Adriano Moraes fight. Interested to see how that one runs back, and the fact that they're putting it on Atlanta, bringing it to the US, says that One sees that fight as pretty fucking viable as well. We got the official confirmation just this afternoon, November 23rd, for the first time in a smooth decade since 2014, the UFC will be going back to Macau. The last time the UFC went to Macau, the card was headlined by Michael Bisping versus Kong Lee, co-main evented by Tyron Woodley, still an up-and-coming prospect at that point. That should say how long ago that's been. Some of the newer fans won't even recognize any of the names that I just fucking said. It's been so long since they've been to Macau. But nice to see that they're going back to some place that they haven't been in a while, and not just recycling the same dozen or dozen and a half places that they go over and over. MSG. That being said, the final pay-per-view of the year, UFC 310, December 7th from Las Vegas, got a very interesting fight added to it here. This one has been rumored and kind of hinted at a couple of times now, and it is now officially official. Contract signed on both sides. Anthony Smith versus Dominic Reyes for the final pay-per-view of the year. This very much feels like both of these gentlemen's last chance to stay relevant in the division, and to have it at the end of the year, it's literally going to give you, I think it's 3 weeks off or 4 weeks off, to just have that thought resonate in your head as they start matchmaking and bringing back fights for the 2025 year. So this one is relevant for both of them and the division, in my opinion. Last couple we've got here, I don't know what the fuck it was this week, but it's very aggravating to have not one, but two different fucking instances in less than one calendar week shit on my goddamn namesake, and it makes me fucking angry, so I'm calling both of them out for it. The first one, Bruno Silva in the UFC has officially been suspended for 6 months for quote unquote, most likely unintentionally ingesting prohibited substances. They have had multiple instances with one non-UFC provided supplement in a certain number of fighters who apparently haven't been announced for their hot tests yet. Bruno Silva being one of them that has been announced. They've given him a 6-month suspension because he is one of several fighters currently going through this right now who, for some reason, keep taking supplements that the UFC does not provide to them and come back fucking tainted. When you can get all of your supplements for free from the UFC and guarantee never to test positive for a fucking banned supplement, I don't know why anyone on the roster at this point still doesn't. I understand sponsorship money is sponsorship money, and you get zero from the UFC when they give you your shit for free, but you also carry zero risk of losing your ability to fight because you get fucking suspended for pissing hot. The other side of things, PFL. Bruno Capoloza, their ex-fucking champion, just got a 1-year suspension handed down because this is his second fucking pop in 2 years. He pissed at the beginning of 2023 hot for Nodastoro, the N1. You know what I'm talking about if you're following any of this. But this time, an out-of-competition sample from April just came back hot for clomiphene and clomiphene metabolites. Banned at all points in and out of competition for any active combat sports participant in any major organization. There is no reason at all ever for any professional fucking fighter to ever have clomiphene or its metabolites in your system unless you're fucking doping. Since he got caught with a literal fucking steroid last time and then clomiphene this time, it's not hard to tell what the fuck that moron's been up to. And either way, he's sitting his ass on the fucking sideline till the middle of 2025 now to fucking think about what he's done. If at that point there's even anything left for him, because he's another one of those guys who's in his late fucking 30s and there's not a lot of miles left on those fucking tires. If you got to sit out on the sideline because of your own fuck up for too long, they're going to dry rot and you're just not going to get another chance to do anything with it. Nobody to blame but your fucking self at this point. Bringing the goddamn name shame. Shame on you, motherfuckers. That being said, that's all that I've got for news for this week. Either one of you gentlemen have anything that I might have missed?
Nothing that I can recall, but I'm on very little sleep brain, so
All good, all good. So, that being said, that'll bring us to the point where most podcasts, you're going to get some bullshit B-roll ad for some fucking product that no one on the show actually uses, and the company doesn't actually know anything about the show, and we don't fucking play that game around here. The I'm No Joe podcast is brought to you by viewers like you. Patreon.com/IamNoJoe. For as little as $1 a month, you get to help us do what we do around here. You get your name on the end of every broadcast on the channel to let everyone know how much of a badass you are and that you're helping us do what we do. You also get unrestricted access to the unseen and unairable behind the scenes shenanigans here on the I'm No Joe the I'm No Joe channel. There are things that we just cannot put on the channel anymore, things that may or may not have gotten us booted off of OnlyFans, but they are there for all of our Patreon supporters. You help us, we give you entertainment in return, more than just our goofy fucking mugs. That being said, if you've been watching MMA or combat sports in general for any significant amount of time, like some of us have been, you start to learn what you like to watch, when it comes on, how to find it, and you start to develop patterns and almost blinders, so to speak, and you start to lose the forest for the trees. Luckily for us old heads here, we've got ourselves a bona fide young person on the show that is just ever so vigilantly out there, delicately fingering the pulse of the MMA world to help keep us abreast of all the names that are going to be names before they even start to become names in a little segment that we call Slows, Cans, and Contenders.
We appreciate you, brother. So I almost fucking forgot about it until Tuesday night came around. The Contender Series came back. There were a couple of them. Weren't too bad. And once I fucking heard about it, I'm like, well, shit, there's nothing else for me to watch. I'm going to be getting stoned and eating some dinner. So I watched the shit, right? First couple fights were good. And a couple kids came out of this that I'll keep an eye out for once they get to the UFC. Two of them I wanted to mention. Lonier Kavanaugh. You guys might have heard of this kid before because he's been fighting Cage Warriors for the past few years. Got some talent for sure, you know, some finishing ability. He's a fun little flyweight. Goes out there in the first 2.5 fucking minutes and just completely lays a dude flat. It was definitely unexpected. I mean, the fight was going decent. Both of them were swinging for the fences in a lot of senses. One of them put the other one to sleep. We'll look out for that kid, see how he does in his debut. And then you had the same situation in the second fight. I mean, once you get to the start of the second round, Jose Delgado fucking just puts motherfucker he's fighting out as well. So two young kids we'll keep an eye out for, see how they do once they actually get to the UFC. So potential contenders in the future. As for this fucking weekend's card, got a lot of shit that I'm throwing in the trash. A few contenders I'm looking forward to for sure, but we'll start out taking out the garbage, man. There's a fight, lumping it together, fucking Janan Song versus Ricky Glenn. It's two veterans. You hope that this can go decent because maybe it could, but more likely than not, This is just one of those fights on this card. It's completely like, who gives a fuck? You know, what's the point in this? That's the majority of the prelims. It's just throwaway fights until you get the main card, and you got some decent fights. Main event's kind of holding everything together for the most part. It's one of the fights we've looked forward to for almost a couple years now. Ricardo Ramos, I would throw in the fucking can at this point. The dude's had his shot in the UFC. He's been very back and forth, even if he's still young. Just shown he's not worth much of a damn. I feel the same way about Jesus Aguilar. Now the guy's had a few fights in the UFC. Herbert Burns. He's the crappy Burns brother. He fucking tore up his knee a couple years ago, said he tired for whatever reason, came back. And I feel like he's just going to be a punching bag this weekend. And Walter Walker, another situation of a shitty brother on this fucking card. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like Junior Taffa. You could throw that fight in as a whole because I feel like that's definitely going to be the Walrus slap fight we're going to get on the card, but I feel like Walter Walker's the guaranteed can where Junior Taffa might have some chance, just like his brother Justin. They both have some potential. This one pair of brothers, you know, one is better than the other, yes, but both of them, because of their heavyweights and shit, both of them could be fun. Alex Reyes, I'm going to finish off the cans with Alex Reyes. Dude is just a weird case. Started out in the UFC in 2017 and then didn't fight for 6 years. But fought last September. Gets laid the fuck out. Almost a whole nother year since then. And we expect that Alex Reyes is going to have any sort of a chance. I don't think so. Tom Nolan's a fucking exciting young kid. I think he's going to wind up getting laid out again. I do have one Schrodinger's contender for this weekend. It's tied to Ivasa. I'm putting him in the contender spot just because I still feel like he's got a chance. I feel like the biggest reason he's been on this losing streak is poor matchmaking. Now that he's got a guy that's going to stand and fucking trade with him, we're going to at least get an exciting fight. We're going to find out if Ty can still hang with some guys up there in the top of the division, or he's just in that situation that we love him. He's a really fun guy to watch, but not really top 15 material. You know, like, you lose this one, that's kind of where I feel he's at. So you're dropping down. I don't think the UFC will cut him because he's still such a fan favorite, you know. It's rough. You have a 5-fight losing streak. You're looking like Tony Ferguson at that point. So you're definitely right there on the fucking fence. But the dude goes out, lays out Eugenio Rosenstrike this weekend, and puts him right back in the position. You know, you get a couple more exciting fucking wins, and they might be talking about title just because of how much fans love the dude. Guaranteed contenders I'm looking forward to this weekend, though. I got 2 fights. The fights I'm probably the most excited about. The People's main event, Dan Hooker and fucking Mateusz Gamrot. Really interested in that fight. There is a bit at stake, really, for Dan Hooker, right? Dan Hooker fucking goes out there, somehow beats Gamrot. That's putting him in the top fucking 5. And the dude is a fan favorite as well. He's fantastic on the fucking microphone. He might just slide him because of Arman Sarukian and his dumbass little fuckery. He's not been that exciting for one. The UFC doesn't like the boring fucking fighters. And then you come out giving them headaches and getting fucking suspended for punching a fan. And in all honesty, they just got lucky. The dude was cool. If the dude wasn't cool, they might be facing a fucking lawsuit and everything. You wouldn't necessarily think they're going to go with that guy over, oh, Dan Hooker goes out here, somehow lays out Mateusz Gamrot, has that amazing moment on the microphone. Oh, he's going to fucking get Islam later this year. Like, serious possibility. So Dan Hooker, and that fight as a whole gotta fucking be thrown in there. And I feel the same way with co-main event. Kai Kara France versus Steve Erceg, Vinny Siggs, man. That's gonna be a fun fucking fight. And whoever comes out on top of it, probably gonna be the next one fighting Pantoja. Like, I don't know if that happens this year, probably next year, but I feel like Vinny Siggs goes out and just dominates Kai Kara France. He had that good showing against Pantoja. There's just not a lot of clear shit at the top, right? Mokaev fucking his chances up really opens up that rematch opportunity for Steve Erceg, in my opinion. Brandon Royval's probably not going to get it, even if he wins later this year in his fight that he's got. So I'm excited for that one. You got Tom Nolan, threw him on there. Josh Coulibaugh. I still kind of feel like dude's got a chance. You go out there in front of the home crowd and you have a really good moment. It gives him a chance to bounce back and get another exciting fight. Stuart Nickel. This kid, I'm going to give him a chance. We'll see how he does in his debut this weekend. He's on a fucking 4-fight winning streak, all of them by knockout, 3 of them in the first fight. So you go out there, you do that again in the UFC. It's something we'll keep an eye out for. Like I said, Taffa brothers in general, but Junior's on this card. Hopefully he can go out there and give us that exciting moment you want of the heavyweight division and save us from the Walrus slap fight I'm feeling like we're going to get. You got Leach. I feel like fucking Li Liang versus Carlos Pratis. That's another one of those fights that could be a potential banger. Whoever comes out on top of that one, putting themselves in a decent situation. Leach's been out due to that injury for a fucking while, so it's great to see him back. He fucking goes out there and gets a nice win over this young kid climbing his way up and building some hype behind him. It would be good for him. So I'm excited for that one. Love to hear what you boys fucking got. Sure, there's plenty to throw in the trash, but I'm excited to hear what you guys think on your contenders this weekend.
I'm gonna do something that's strongly against my will here, but I'm putting the entirety of the heavyweight bout of Tai Tuivasa and Jairzinho Rosenstrike in the cans.
Oh, you're doing the same thing Vincent did.
I love Tai Tuivasa. I'm a big Tai Tuivasa fan, but to be honest, after seeing him not be able to compete at the top, he's just gonna be a perennial fucking placeholder for people, and I hate to see that. I'm hoping his time training in Abu Dhabi it fixes some of his holes, but I don't think that's going to be the case. This is a story of a long game. He's still going to have the knockout power, but is he really rounded out his game enough? And Rosenstrike, we know Rosenstrike's a fucking gunslinger too. So yeah, we're gonna get what we expect in a gunslinging fucking walrus fight. And to be honest, I don't see this getting out of the second round. But it's still cans for me because neither one of them really gain a whole lot out of the win off of this. And yeah, Ty wins. Yeah, he keeps his name, and they go, okay, yeah, we're gonna feed him some more guys to try to knock out, but we're going to put him against wrestlers and jiu-jitsu aces to nullify the fucking shit that's going on. And Rosenstrike's just been hovering there for a hot fucking minute, not really doing anything. He was up towards the top at one point, but then, well, the people we have sitting at the top of the heavyweight division right now are way fucking better. Like there's a large gap as far as just the fighting experience and how all rounded they are versus where those guys are sitting 10 and 12 right now. So as much as I hate to do it, it has to go into the can category because nobody really gains anything out of that. It's just kind of saving your own skin at that point in that fight. To be honest, that's what makes it a can fight for me. Will it still be exciting? Yeah, because somebody is going to sleep in that fight. Just a matter of who. If it goes the fucking distance, that'll be a little odd. I'm 100% on board with the Walker brother. He is the shittier of the two. Not that the other one is any better, but it's definitely another one of those cases of here. Let's bring more family members in, and here we fucking go. But I mean, just as all of these cards, they've stacked it with Australians and people from New Zealand. So I mean, it's to be expected with what we're seeing here. Uh, to be honest, the entirety of the early prelims can go jump off a bridge, and I wouldn't miss them. They could just start with the prelims and Jack Jenkins and the shitty Herbert Burns. And to be honest, Jack Jenkins not doing that much better. He's just another Australian with a fucking mullet. Although I believe in the power of the mullet, I don't believe in his power of the mullet. I will make that very clear. On the other side of that, I'm highly, highly looking forward to the co-main event here. Kai Car-France and Steve Erceg. Steve Erceg showed that he has what it takes to be at the top of the division. Arguably, he could have won that fucking title had he not fucked around in the last round. Round 5 fucked him out of a title, but that's an experience thing. So now getting somebody like Kai, who's been there and fought those long distance fights, things like that, we're really going to see what Steve's made of. And it's 3 rounds versus 5, so his output's going to be better. But that has exciting all over it. So that is definitely my contender fight as a whole, because there's something exciting. I think either one of those guys wins, they get another shot at the title. Usyk definitely, if he wins, should get another shot at the title. Because to be honest, taking it on short notice and then damn near winning it, definitely worth it. I'm gonna do a contender fight, namely for one reason only, and that's going to be the Mateusz Gamrot and Dan Hooker fight. We don't know what the fuck we're going to get out of Dan Hooker. This is why I'm saying contender. We know what Mateusz is capable of, and he's been pretty fucking solid so far. You haven't seen those weird ups and downs with him. Dan on the other side, he came in fucking hot into the UFC, blowing through people, and then all of a sudden, fucking train derailed and left the goddamn station. And it seems to have kind of came back a little bit. But, I mean, he's also losing to guys that are at the top of the division, which is why I'm calling this a contender fight, because Mateusz doesn't gain anything out of this at all. He's fighting a number 11 ranked Dan Hooker. But Dan has everything to fucking gain. So that's why I'm calling this a contender fight, because it could go one of two ways. Either somebody gets nothing or somebody gets everything out of it. I mean, as a whole, most of the fights on here really aren't that bad, except for the fucking early prelims. I can't complain as a whole. There are some ones that are head scratchers on placement wise, but that is what it is. I will give them credit though. The main card, I think, for the most part, all of those guys deserve a spot on the main card. Li Liang, that dude, he deserves it. He's had some fucking phenomenal fights. Yeah, he had an injury and he's coming back from it now. So hopefully we get the leech back in full force now. Because to be honest, big fan of the leech.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the vast majority of what you guys have said here. I definitely agree with the Gamrot versus Hooker fight. If especially knowing that Dan Hooker just signed an 8-fight extension, obviously the UFC believes that there is way more to be had from Dan Hooker than we have seen so far, and they clearly understand that injury that he had set him out for a hot minute, and then he came back clearly not ready yet, and it didn't do him any fucking favors. And now look at the Michael Chandler situation we got because of that bullshit, but that's a whole nother show. That being said, if Dan Hooker comes out looking like the OG Dan Hooker that we saw back in the day, he's going to leapfrog himself right back into the fucking conversation. And the same can be said going negatively. If Dan Hooker comes in and just dog walks Gamrot, all of that work that he has done to build himself up to where he is right now gets thrown out the fucking window. Because yeah, some of his earlier losses can kind of be explained away as growing pains and as getting the feel of the way the UFC works and how it goes at the top of the stack. But this far into your fucking career, if Dan Hooker comes in off the fucking bench and just beats your ass, your fucking hype train's pretty much over, dude. But at the same time, with what Dan Hooker has been going through recently, I'm not going to say it's acceptable, but it would almost be understandable if he came out here and just got outworked by Gamrot because of how much he's been going through lately as well. So there is a lot potentially on the line for the people's co-main event, in my opinion. I agree 100%. What I will say is that I will tune into, but I'm not necessarily excited about any fight where there is a brother involved. Shut up, Cat. I love the Tafa brothers. I'll fucking root for the Tafa gang till they both fucking hang them up and call it quits. But I'm not necessarily excited to see Junior get in here and have to walrus slap fight against the weaker of the two fucking Walker brothers. Because Walter is a bad fucking joke. And absolutely, just like Mohammed Usman, got signed because his brother has already done a significant amount of work for the organization. There is no meritocratic, you know, genuineness to either fucking Walter Walker or Muhammad Usman here. And it almost feels like this is the UFC giving Junior the, all right, we appreciate you and your brother stepping in and doing the old switcheroo for us here. So go out and fuck this dude up so we can send him down the goddamn road and you can get a big fucking win at home. I'll watch it. I'm not necessarily excited for it though. Same thing with fucking Herbert Burns. Christian mentioned it earlier. He already fucking retired once and then came out of retirement for seemingly no fucking reason and hasn't done shit really since he came out of retirement. I'm, a huge fucking fan of both of the Burns brothers and everything that they have done collectively. But in this situation, this again feels like they're teeing up Jack Jenkins here. Go out there, beat this fucker down, get a great highlight reel at home, and let us send this dude back into fucking retirement here. I got nothing against Tom Nolan, but Christian covered Alex Reyes' fucking history. He got the UFC push that he has at this point, which isn't much to begin with, because he is one of two Reyes brothers in the UFC, and Dominic has done a lot of work versus a little bit that Alex has done. Even then, I don't know that I have seen any prediction anywhere that has Tom Nolan anything less than a 2-1 favorite coming in here to just beat the absolute shit out of Alex Reyes. I kind of think that's how it's going to go. And I agree. I fucking love Song Kanan. I absolutely do. Ricky Glenn is an OG motherfucker. I will absolutely watch when either one of them fight, but the fact that they put both of these two long in the tooth motherfuckers against each other on a pay-per-view card, even on the prelims, man, oof, big fucking oof there. What I will say, basically the main card, obviously the brothers opening it up, we'll see how that turns out, but I agree, the main card is just well booked fights. We have not seen a solid main card like this, pay-per-view or fight night, in a hot fucking minute. I don't know that we've had any fight card in 2024 so far as solid as this main card is right here. I don't know if it's because it's in Perth, if it's because they know that they have delivered a bunch of shit cards in a row leading us up to here, but we've got some really, really good fights on this card potentially. I think the Hooker Gamrot fight though, I think you guys are right. I think that might be the most potential where do we go from here fight for me. So that's the one I'm most excited about, but there's good and bad up and down the card here. I agree.
Definitely agree with both of you. There's some good, there's better than what we've had lately, but there's always some shit. UFC 300, that's the only thing we'll ever get. It was actually a full good card. Yeah. I appreciate you boys.
Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. So now, because I keep fucking forgetting, I'm going to do this now. We're going to go over this weekend's upcoming combat sports fight menu because I keep fucking forgetting to the end and I want to try to get it earlier in the goddamn show. So obviously, we do this show predominantly around the schedule of the UFC because that is the one organization that pretty much everybody knows. But just to kind of keep everybody well informed and well versed, as it were, I like to do a little thing I call the combat sports menu for the weekend. Let you know all of the punchy kicky to be had all weekend long, despite it being based around the UFC schedule. So this weekend, we've got a pretty goddamn good lineup. Tomorrow, for the most part, is when everything really kicks off. Most weekends start this way, bright and early tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 Central Time. One championships, one Friday night fights because they're on the other side of the world. Number 75. This is another one of those. You might not know anybody on this card, but it is a legitimate, true multi-discipline event. There are 2 MMA fights, but 10 Muay Thai fights in MMA gloves, and those are fucking spectacular. So, combat sports for breakfast, they got you covered. Tomorrow evening, starting at 6 Eastern, 5 Central, CJI, the Craig Jones Invitational, kicks off, combating against ADCC, which doesn't really have anything compared to CJI. The CJI big fights predominantly take place on Saturday, but the opening round, the brackets on both sides are fucking stacked. I will post a link to the actual brackets in the I'm No Joe Discord server. So if you're not there yet, go join that. The fucking brackets in this tournament look spectacular. The Rotolo brothers are in there on opposite sides of each other. Andy Varela's in there. We've got so many big fucking names. I can't fucking wait to see it. Not to mention Nicky Rod and Luke Rockhold are starting on the same side of the bracket. So there's no chance they're making it to the finals against each other. But one of the two of them very well might be in the finals for the 80 kilogram plus side. Not to mention Saturday, when the other half of CGI goes off, you get Gabby Garcia versus Craig Jones, for fuck's sake. That's worth the price of admission because it's free on YouTube to watch both days. It's a 2-day event, just like ADCC. Friday, you get your early rounds. Saturday, you get your finals, and then your big matches. So Friday evening is going to be the fun, starting at 6. A little later Friday evening, starting at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Central, PFL number 8, the next round of playoff cards kick off. Couple of interesting matchups on here, and of course, because it's a PFL, they're going to grandstand and try and make money off of Biagio Ali Walsh taking his second professional fight ever now that they've milked his amateur career for all that it's fucking worth. There are still some interesting fights on this though, and like I mentioned, it's the playoffs, so it's winner go home for everybody on the main card. Definitely important if you're paying attention to the PFL side of things. Later tomorrow evening, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, BKFC Kansas City. I could not be more happy that they have brought BKFC to Kansas City, and at the same time, so fucking angry that they brought such a garbage card. If you're gonna watch it, definitely find yourself a Khabib-esque link to watch it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Don't give them any money to encourage this bullshit. They brought a garbage card, and as last I saw, tickets were like $95 a piece for nosebleed seats. And no, fuck that. Fuck that. There will be fights, but don't give them any money to encourage that shit. That being said, the reason we are all here this evening is that Saturday, UFC 305 live from Perth, Australia goes down 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Lots of good fights, as we mentioned, on that card to be had. So keep your eyes peeled. Plenty of combat sports this weekend to be had. That being said, that will bring us to the point in the show where one segment requires its own individual disclaimer here. So if you will, just a moment, please. Tapology.com does not in any way, shape, or form support, sponsor, or endorse the I'm No Joe podcast. Yet. That being said, Tapology.com does give you the option to go onto their site, create a free account, and make fantasy style MMA picks like we do here on the show. They even let you make groups on there, so we made one. It's called I'm No Bookie, all one word, or group 965, however you need to find it. The group is open to the public, and you are welcome and encouraged. Make yourself an account, join the group, and put your picks head to head with ours in a little segment that we call Tapology with TJ.
All right. So last week we had Tybura Spivak 2 with, I'm going to say Spivak, and that fucking armbar in the first round. Was not expecting that, but it fucking happened and it was fucking wonderful to watch. Oh, as a whole, our group did very well for the most part. There's a little asterisk there. For the most part, almost everybody was 500 or better. And those of you who don't know what 500 or better means, that means more than 50% of their picks correct. They're that halfway line. Just putting it out there because I know some of y'all are new that are listening. That's fine. Taking right off the get-go, hats off to Christian. 8 of 10 correct. There would have been more fights, but fuckery happened, as was mentioned in the news segment earlier. There was all sorts of fuckery with fights. People missing by 5 pounds and fucking craziness. But 8 of 10, fucking 525 points, leading the pack out there. Oh, there was a fight during the fights this week, but it was not the fight you want. It was the fight of who could trip over their dick the hardest and smash it with a hammer at the same time. And that came down to Don and Vinny. There was a whopping 25-point difference between them. The only thing that saved Vinny is he got one more pick correct than Don. Otherwise, it would have been Vinny taking the cake there. Don was the one exception to the rule where it was under 500. All River Tour, I think it's time to step up the game this week. However, I know that we're finally starting to get a couple more bookings farther out, so maybe we'll get a fall Grand Prix. Maybe. We'll see. But that's to be determined. Everybody else, hats off. You got over 500%. There was very close as far as the scoring was concerned this week, but that tends to happen when you only have 10 fights on a card because of fuckery. Something that, I mean, the card was done by what, 9:30 this last week Central Time, so it was a really fucking early one, which, not gonna lie, was kind of fucking nice. But if you're not already there, come join us over on Tapology. It's free to make an account. Group 965 or I'm no bookie. Did I mention it's free? If you don't like free things, the fuck are you doing here? Because this is free. We're not charging you to listen. Yeah, let's move on to some odds for this week. Just get this right out of the way so everybody fucking knows. As per usual, I'm going to be looking at the BetMGM odds. So, depending on where you're looking, your odds may vary a bit. We're going to cover some of the wider odds on the card first. And then, of course, we'll do the co-main and main as per usual. One of the wider odds I saw on the card here was actually in the early prelims. The Tom Nolan, Alex Reyes fight. They have Alex Reyes coming in as a plus 750 underdog, as it should be. Tom Nolan, minus 1,200 favorite. That's fucking wild. 1,200 favorite, and you're on the early prelims. God, it sucks to suck. Oh, for those of you who don't know, that's if you're a crazy betting man, yeah, bet on Alex Reyes because you could definitely win some money there. $100 get you 750. I'm just saying that it might be worth a shot because you never know with these guys that are fucking subpar. But that is the widest odds on the card, so I want to make that very clear. But I thought that was worth mentioning because it is on the early prelims. The next widest odd on the card is going to be from Herbert Burns and Jack Jenkins. Got the shittier of the Burns brothers coming in as a plus 550 underdog, and Jack Jenkins right now as a minus 800 favorite. So we got a couple of wide ones here on the card. Now, for the most part, as per usual, a lot of them are coin flips, so not huge odd swings. The next ones that are even close to that, there's two of them that well, I won't even say even close. Yeah, Carlos Paredes and the Leech Li Jingliang. They've got the Leech coming in as a plus 290 underdog over Carlos in being the minus 375 favorite. I think those are a little wild, but he is coming off an injury, and Carlos has been on a bit of a tear. Now, he's not your typical Brazilian because he's not training with all of those other Brazilians down there at Shoot the Box, so it's a little bit different. So I don't know if the odds makers were thinking, oh, Brazilian Shoot the Box. No, he doesn't train at Shoot the Box, so it's it's a little bit weird seeing that there. The one I really didn't want to mention, but it is going to come up, and like I said, this was a fight we all talked about here, and that's Dan Hooker and Matus Gamrot. They've got Hooker coming in as a plus 280 underdog, which makes sense because we have no idea what the fuck we're going to get out of him. He's legitimately a wild card on this. Matus Gamrot coming in as a minus 375 favorite. Makes sense. Enemy territory or not, Matus has been solid everywhere they've sent him in the UFC. It's just that. But those are the widest odds that we have on the card right now. Those are subject to change in the next 24 to 48 hours, so make sure you're paying attention to those things. Now, as far as the co-main and main are concerned, pretty goddamn close to coin flips. This is something you guys are all going to find interesting, even though it's coin flip. The co-main event in Kai Kara France and Steve Erceg. I've got Kai coming in as a plus 150 underdog. He's ranked number 4 in the division right now. Steve Erceg ranked number 7, coming in as a minus 185 favorite. Pretty close to a coin flip, though, but it is kind of cool to see them obviously giving Erceg the credit that's due, especially coming off of a very close loss in a title challenge on short notice. Now, the epitome of coin flips comes in your main event with Dricus du Plessis and Israel Adesanya. Du Plessis coming in as a minus 105, Adesanya a minus 115. So they're a legitimate coin flip there. You have to spend a lot of money to make any money on that fight at all. So it's not one that you really want to throw a big bet on unless you're doing some sort of parlay. On this card, though, I would highly advise against parlays because there's some fights on here that could really go either way and really fuck you in the end. Just putting that out there. It's your choice if you decide to do that. Maybe your best bet is to bet on those weird things. Are they going to touch gloves? Is there going to be a hug mid fucking fight? You know, some of that crazy shit. But those are the odds for this week. We'll be back next week, I think, because I think we do have a hangover card next week, don't we? Yes, we do. So we'll be back next week to talk about who made good picks, who made shitty picks, and who needs to go back to the drawing board. Also, don't forget to join the group.
Yeah, we should be back next week, and then we have just 1 week off. Originally, we had 3 weeks off at the end of April, end of August rather, beginning of September, and then they stacked in a couple of extra bullshit cards. So yeah, now we just get 1 week off at the end of August, beginning of September before we come back. But definitely interesting things to be had. That being said, that will bring us to the point. If you've been paying attention for any amount of time, you'll kind of know where we're going. But if you're newer, you haven't been around for a while, you'll know by the video GIF that rolls across the screen. Unfortunately, the audio listeners will just have to know by the cues we're giving them now. But this is the point when the show stops being so friendly and starts being a little more head to head. When we start taking away the hee-hees and start getting down to the fuck yous. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the pit. So, as is the case most of the time, we don't like to take the path less traveled. We like to do things the hard way. And in that spirit, since Golf T had a week off last week, we are throwing his ass right in the pit. And we are going to keep Christian awake this week by making him be the judge. So, Golf T, are you ready to get it on?
Ready as I'll ever be at this point. Not like I got a prior notice. Not like I ever get prior notice. I'm just saying. Still make weight every time.
What's notice? All right, Christian, you ready over there, brother?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The floor is yours, sir.
All right, to start us fucking out. Gotta figure out who goes first here. So golf tee, you just got the ball dropped on you. I'll give you the opportunity. You want to go first, or you want Meter to go first? Give you the choice.
I'll go first. It doesn't matter.
All right. So we'll fucking start it out. What's the shit on this card? It's absolutely like, what the fuck? You would tell everybody to stay the fuck away from. Don't waste your fucking time on it. That's how we're going to start this out, this first round. What's the fight on this card? Everybody needs to fucking avoid, even if you're a hardcore fan.
This is going to sound like an odd one coming from me, but I'm actually going to go. I'm sticking to my guns here. Tai Tuivasa and Rosenstrike. Nobody gains anything out of this. If it goes past the middle of the second round, all you're going to see is a walrus slap fight. There's nothing that screams, hey, get in here and watch this. Like two fucking out of breath walruses just beating the shit out of each other on a fucking beach that just so happens to be inside a chain link fence. Somebody might get knocked out, but it's not worth it. Nobody gains anything. Feel free to disregard. I mean, the best you're seeing out of them is touring around Australia right now, getting put in front of a little ceremony, given a piece of wood that's been carved out by a local. That's the best you're getting out of this. If you don't know what I'm referring to, go on YouTube. You'll find it.
All right, so we'll swing it back over to you, Meter. How do you see this on the shit side of things? What's the fight you give no fucks about whatsoever?
There's definitely a couple on this card that I will be taking advantage of to do my dabs during the evening for sure. Uh, but as much as it pains me to say it, much like golf tee, I'm going to stick to my guns here. The one that I'm just not even going to pay attention to is the two guys who probably honestly deserve the most attention on this card, and that's the two OGs, Kanan Song versus Ricky Glenn. This is one of those fights that we talk about all the time. The only way you can describe it is a contractual obligation. Even a great fucking win by either guy here doesn't do anything for their career. It doesn't do anything for them in terms of their placement in the division. And it's really not going to do a whole lot compared to some of the much bigger potential fights later on in the card. Not to mention, you've got a dude from China and a dude from America fighting in Australia. Neither one of them are on their regular time zones. So you're not even getting, peak optimized fucking versions of either one of them. And they're throwing it in the early fucking prelims to boot. So they're not even showing the OGs the respect that they deserve for their resumes. So as much as I love both of these dudes and I respect the fuck out of the OGs, this fight has no business on this card whatsoever, in my opinion.
All right. Well, I definitely like both answers there. We're keeping this shit close scoring like we've been doing lately. So we'll figure out how things shake out at the end of this. Guaranteed 5 fucking rounds, no matter how it goes. Second round, we'll go the opposite way of things. So we'll start back with you, Meter, and flip it around. What would you suggest to newcoming fans or hardcore fans? What's the fight you're the most excited for on this card? The one that nobody can fucking miss. The one that, like you've coined before, the hey ma, get in here kind of situation.
So as strange as this card is top to bottom, it was actually tough because I've been thinking about this since we started the show. I think I've made my decision here, but I do want to take just a quick second to give my runner up a little shine as well here. my runner-up, I will say, or honorable mention, however you want to phrase it, is Casey O'Neill versus Luana Santos. And it only takes runner-up to the other fight because they're both in the same spirit for me. Both of these fights are a fighter coming off of a major injury and a long layoff, trying to make themselves relevant again, get back on the hype train that they once built, so to speak. Casey O'Neill was never really that big of a hype worldwide. She is an Australian star all over the place. She's a European star. She just never quite got her hype to America. And then when she started to, she fucked her knee up, and she's had a hard road back. And I definitely feel for anyone going through knee recovery struggle. I'm still fucking there. So honorable mention to those. Luana Santos is not the greatest, but she's starting to fucking put it together, and she could really do a lot if she makes a big showing here against Casey O'Neill, which there's a chance to. But my actual pick, the one that I think is going to be the one that nobody should miss, the return of the Leech, Li Jingliang. That dude is a great human being. He's a great fighter. He's a great representative of mixed martial arts. And even though he's had so much time off because of his injury, he hasn't been sitting on the sidelines playing the feel sorry for me game. He's busting his ass in recovery and doing charity work while he's fucking hurt. This dude is training when he can and helping others when he can't train. You can't help but root for a dude like that. And Carlos Pratas has just been tearing up every opportunity he has had to get himself in front of a camera since he got his intro into the top of the fucking stack here. So putting the two of them together for the Leech's return and putting it in the middle of the main card shows that even the UFC folks understand that this one has some big fucking potential. And I'm telling you right now, they're going to have to steal fight of the night away from these two, in my opinion.
I definitely fucking agree with that one. It's one of the more exciting fights on the card. So, Golf T, what do you got? What's the fight on this one you would suggest to somebody? This is going to be, without a shadow of any doubt, banger of a fight.
I feel like I just got sideswiped listening to honorable mentioning Casey O'Neill and Luana Santos. Seemed kind of off kilter, but hey, to each their own. No, I mean, wouldn't be the one I'd be calling out. I'd be more likely to call it a Jack Jenkins and Herbert Burns over that. But I guess some people are strange. Yeah. How, as far as this is concerned, I was going to say the Leech and Carlos Prentice is my runner-up because, like you said, the Leech fucking coming back, and knowing that Carlos is on a back-to-back first-round KOs coming into the UFC, he's coming in fucking hot. But they're gonna really throw a test in front of him in the Leech, and the Leech is getting a test coming back because knowing that dude's on a fucking streak, there's something about not losing in the UFC that makes you a little bit better. Just because that whole I haven't lost yet. There's that extra little aura about you. But again, I'm sticking to my fucking guns here because I said it earlier and I'll say it again. It might be low-hanging fruit, and I don't give a shit. The co-main event in Kai Kara-France and Steve Erceg is guaranteed to be fucking fireworks. I'm telling you, there's so much to gain for both of them out of this fight. Kai is definitely guaranteed a fucking title shot if he beats Steve, because Steve just had a title shot. Steve definitely gets a title shot if he beats Kai, because Kai's been knocking on the fucking door for a while of a title shot. And we've seen what Steve did in his title shot. He's had to have fucking learned from that simple mistake. He didn't get knocked out. He wasn't in bad shape at the end of the fight. Kai knows what he's doing. He's been down this road. He had a little lull there for a moment, but he got his shit back together. So I see nothing but fucking good things out of this. And knowing it's not a 5-round fight, these guys get to go ham ape shit wild. And that flyweight, that gas tank is going to last that 15 minutes really fucking easy. There's going to be some excitement here. If you're not tuned in for this one, it's because you fell asleep because of fucking Dan Hooker or Tai Tuivasa and Jairzinho Roizenstrike. That would be the only thing that could fucking make you fall asleep before that. But I'm just saying, it's out there. low hanging fruit or not, I still think that is by far the best fight on the fucking card to me.
It's good fucking round between the both of you. Both did good fucking fights, good fucking arguments. It was a close fucking shit in the match already. First couple rounds coming out swinging. We're going to round 3. Let's start talking about what Golfty just mentioned hilariously. Get on to the co-main event. How you boys see it's going to shake out. Who you think's going to come out on top. Golfty just talked about it. Now you get another minute or so to talk about the same shit, brother. You started back up on round 3. How you think co-main event's gonna fucking shake out this weekend?
Well, I'm gonna leave it like this because you just heard what I said, so we'll just roll on the ball from there. I give this to Steve Ursig all fucking day. Why? Kai's on a back-to-back losses. Urzig's only got one loss right now. He's on a one fight loss. And that's because he fought for the fucking title. And guess what? He definitely learned from that shit. Because even in his post fight, I probably shouldn't have done what I did in the 5th round. He fucking knew it. It bit him in the ass. It ain't gonna bite him in the ass again. As much as I like Kai, and he's technically not home field advantage because they're in Australia. So you got to give it to the home field advantage of Steve Ursig. And knowing how many of those motherfuckers stayed up late to watch him fight for a title, or got up early, I guess, depending on the person's work schedule. But you know what I mean. It's a hard thing to say that Kai's going to win this fight. I feel like I hope that Izzy is not watching this fight because it could tarnish what he does in the main event. But I think Steve Ursig takes this, and I think he's going to take it in a dominant fashion, to be honest. Kai's still going to be there, but I don't think he's going to have as much as what Steve is going to have now, coming off of that loss of the title and not really taking a huge hit. His stock went way up. And Kai's he's floating right now. If he loses this, bye-bye title shot. He will never see one again. Steve, even if he loses this fight, he's still got a chance of fucking getting a title shot again. But I say if. I don't think he's going to. I think he wins this outright, and he's going to batter Kai Kara-France and win it by easy decision. 30-27, maybe 30-26.
I like it. I'm fucking all for Vinny Siggs, so that was a pretty good answer. Let's see how Meter can come back swinging in this 3rd round. What do you got, brother? How do you think the co-main event's going down?
Much like a one Lincoln Hawk, we're going over the fucking top here. I am probably in the very small minority of people. I think this fight's going to fucking suck. I think we're looking at a situation where Ursig is going to want to come out and start fast because that's what he missed out on last time. He didn't capitalize on his momentum in his last title fight. And I think that would normally be a great idea, except Kai Kara-France, much like Peter Yan, starts slowly, always starts slowly. He gets his momentum going somewhere in the 2nd round, and then by round 3, 4, and 5, he's a fucking dynamo, and you have to be able to deal with that. But this is a 3-round fight, and we've seen even in 3-round fights, Kai still starts slowly. The thing that benefits him is that he's got such awkward movement and such a weird style in how he throws his strikes and how he avoids strikes. It almost plays into making an interesting back and forth with him and Ursig. And then as Ursig starts to try and figure him out, and then Kara-France starts to turn that speed up, and that momentum, that volume just starts to keep growing like he does. I think as Kai Kara-France starts to speed up and Ursig starts to wane down a little bit, we get to the end of the 3rd fucking round. And by that point, we haven't really seen shit from either one to make definitively this is his fight kind of decision, because realistically, both of these dudes benefit from 5-round fights. I think if this was a 5-round fight, this would be a whole different fucking ball game, and I would have zero doubt in my mind that Vinny Siggs would take Kai Kara France to a 5-round decision very handily, if not get the finish. But being as how this is 3, both of these gentlemen are coming off of losses, but their styles are so different in how they approach their fights. I think this is almost going to be just a fucking fist to fist, head clash to head clash, 15 minutes of, oh, that was good, but yeah, that was good too. But yeah, that was good, but yeah, that was good too. And then we go to the judges and go, well, what the fuck now? And I think we come out of this in Splitty City. I think it's close, but I think KKF is going to be able to do enough as he turns it on in the second and third round to outpoint Ursig and confuse him enough with his movement. I think KKF wins this by Splitty City in a not exciting co-main event.
Definitely a surprising motherfucking answer. But I like the explanation. Shit's getting interesting as we get into these last couple rounds. So round 4 before that fun round where we get the sticky notes. Let's finish her up. Let's talk about the fucking piece de resistance. Main event. Adesanya coming back. Who's the real African? We'll start it back with you, Meter. How do you think the main event's shaking out?
Well, I'm not much of a Sage guy, but in honor of Mr. Still Knox himself, Dricus Duplessis, much like I feel his legacy, quote unquote, will this weekend, this blunt's going to get smoked real quick. I think Dricus is going to come out and he's going to think that he just has everything figured out. And he, like a lot of people, in my opinion, are neglecting the fact that Israel Adesanya did not take time off after his last fight because his feelings were hurt, or because he didn't like fighting anymore, or because he had too many things outside of fighting distracting him. He took time off because he said, I have literally had my last 15 fights in a row take place with a major fucking injury. And then he comes out in open workouts and he shows, I can do knuckle down push-ups for the first time in almost a decade. I've got better movement. I've got faster movement than I've ever had in my entire tenure in the UFC. Anything you thought you knew about me is the injured me that you've been studying, and he ain't me no more, motherfuckers. Add to that Dricus has come out and said flat out, based on the Strickland fight, he knows exactly what to do to Izzy. So now he's delusional and he's learning from the wrong shit. DDP has just got a head full of nonsense steered in the complete wrong fucking direction. And Israel Adesanya is about to sneak up from behind him and put his fucking lights out Saturday night. I don't think we see a third round. I think Izzy puts DDP to fucking sleep in under 2.
So are you saying a diamond upside down is a pussy? Hopefully somebody caught that reference, but you know.
Good shit. All right, so how do you see it happening, Golf Team? What do you think's going down in the main event?
I think this is going to tell us a lot because let's look at it this way. Adesanya has lost the belt not once, but twice. He's had 2 losses in his last 3 fights, or his last 4 fights, excuse me. But he's regained, then loses to Strickland, which, sure, we can attest to the injury. I attested to him not looking like Izzy at all, but it also could be that Strickland is a different kind of fucking animal that he wasn't prepared for correctly. For Dricus to talk shit about the way he looked in the Strickland fight, and then Dricus taking as much damage as he did while winning the belt from Strickland, that doesn't speak very fucking highly. For me, this is kind of a toss-up. Do we see the return of the king in this case? Calling out Asanya, return of the king, being as he's regained the fucking belt after losing it. Would he be the first three-time title holder of the middleweight division? Or do you see what I'm gonna call fucking, you know what? Let me rename them. Do we see Mufasa or Scar take this? Scar's been talking a lot of shit. A very lot. But anybody who's watched Embedded knows all of a sudden he's really friendly when he sees fucking city kickboxing coach in the fucking lobby of the hotel. I don't know. There's always a downfall to Scar. Uh, he's overreaching. But on the other side, Mufasa does die. Usually he's offed by Scar, at least in the fucking movie. And I say movies because there's multiple movies of that now. So to say what's going to happen here is a little difficult. Drickus, as much as we all think he has no gas tank, I think he does have a gas tank because even when that fucker's on fumes, he's still swinging for the fucking fences. He doesn't swing soft, he swings hard. Whereas you've got more of a point style fighter in Israel Adesanya, which is probably why so many people complain about him having boring title fights. Because he was kind of that same mindset of Anderson Silva, where it's just point fight him, and then if I get lucky, I get lucky and knock him out. I want to say that Dricus du Plessis is gonna beat him, but I can't. I can't fucking verbally do it. I really think Israel is the much better fighter. He just ran across a couple of guys that had his fucking number. Which, to be honest, that's gonna happen because there's always a fighter out there that's gonna have your number. That's just how that fucking works. You're not gonna reign on top forever. Nobody goes out on top unless you're Amanda Nunes. But the women's division, that's a whole totally different fucking thing. That's a different animal in itself. I really think Izzy takes this, but I don't think he's going to get him out of there early. I think we're going to see him get him out of there late. I'm thinking late fourth, early fifth, after he's battered him for a while. Jerkis will still be swinging for the fences at that time, but it's hard to swing for the fences when your legs are fucking rubber bands. So I think eventually Jerkis will lose it, but it's just going to be late. And unfortunately, there is still a chance that Scar catches him because, even though Mufasa says he's got a chin, we've seen him get knocked out. So that's diminishing returns. But he's got to get touched first. That's the key.
I like it. It's been close this entire fucking back and forth. It's gonna be hard to finish the scoring.
Also, not to add to the answer, but they're both fucking African. Stop with the who's the true African. It doesn't matter where you live. If you were born in the fucking country, that's where you're fucking from.
That's why I used the opening song that I did today.
Fuckery.
They had to get something to build the fight up. I mean, other than that, they don't have anything to hate each other with. It's just two alphas going against each other, really. Who's got the bigger balls? That's what we're about to see. It's been a close contest. I think this fifth round might fucking be the thing that decided. Meter's got the sticky notes. Golf tee, you get to decide. Pick a damn number, right? Between 1 and 5, something like that. Four sticky notes.
Okay. Let's go with 3. If it's the question I fucking posted the other day, I'm gonna laugh.
UFC 400 be?
Okay.
All right, so Golf T got to pick the fucking sticky note meter. You want to go first? Or you want Golf T to go first?
Oh no, I'll go first on this one.
All right, let's get it. Where do you think UFC 400 will be?
So everyone will be paying attention because Dana White will have just confirmed the signing of the contracts for Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler at UFC 400 in a T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. They will not take that place, or they will not take that show anywhere outside their home range, and they won't have much of a choice because at that point, the UFC is going to be running Las Vegas because Dana White will be the governor of Nevada, and then he will have control of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. So they will almost have to have it in Nevada by that point. But at that point, they will have negotiated better broadcast rights, and Dana White will be getting a bigger bonus, and they can lie easier about the gates and the record sales and everything like that. But it will be in Las Vegas for sure.
Very hilarious answer. Very much possible at this point. Pretty topical. So good shit. Where are you going on it, Golf T? Where do you think UFC 400 will be?
Can anybody say Riyadh? As much money as they're throwing at the UFC to do shit right now, there's a very strong possibility that they could foot a very strong bill. I'm just saying, if you've seen Aladdin, Prince Ali is he, there's a very strong chance that we could see this in fucking in Riyadh. Because I mean, it makes sense. They keep throwing money at it. They're paying for the fucking Sphere right now. To be honest, the card that they're putting together for the Sphere, not that great, and anybody who's dumb enough to buy a ticket to that shit show is a fucking moron. They're not worth it. I have a feeling it could be Riyadh because you got to think the ESPN contract is fucking just about done. They're going to be going to a multi-platform fuckery thing or whatever else they decide to do. And where is all this money getting funneled in? Riyadh. It's Riyadh season, baby. We're going to fucking Riyadh for UFC 400. Also, there's going to be a fucking amazing parade, guaranteed.
I like it. Both answers pretty good. Let me go ahead and finish scoring this shit out here. All right, got final score, and kind of hard to see because of my shitty light. Here we go. And a meter, Golf T, 48-47. Giving it to meter. That final round was the deciding factor, man. Meter gave a realistic answer, just like Golf T, but man, he had the matchup too and the comedy value because at this fucking point, if it's ever gonna happen, it'll be 100 damn pay-per-views down the line from where we're at. That's a fantastic fucking answer. I mean, both of those were fucking pretty good answers. That was a good question. Both of you boys gave a hell of a realistic shot. I mean, that's probably going to be one or the other the way things are going. 100 down the line, the fucking next biggest one, it'll be either be in Riyadh or, like always, will be in Vegas, right?
That's it. Now, I do want to put a little asterisk here. If this comes back around 400 and ends up in Riyadh, this must be overturned as a victory to me.
Oh yeah.
Or
We'll
vice
definitely
versa.
come
If
back.
it stays that way, it stays.
Yeah. We'll definitely have the commission come back and review it once 400 gets here. We've had points stripped retroactively in the past. We could do it again if we need to. Damn it.
Fuck. At that point, I very well might not remember. I'm gonna be too fucking old.
Right? Oh shit. I'll take it though. I'll take it. Well fought.
Good shit. Indeed.
Thank you very much for reffing for us this evening. Much appreciated, Christian. So, with the pit ending us out, that will be all we have got for this particular episode. But as is always the case, when we wrap things up around here, that is not the end of the fun, because tomorrow morning and pretty much every Friday morning, he's over there. Yeah, he's over there. That guy over there and his other half dropped their podcast, the Slow Bake and Contemplate podcast, over there on Spreaker. You can catch the link to their podcast as well as their social medias and their very own channel over on the I'm No Joe Discord, all down below. Go check those guys out and tell them how great they are.
Appreciate you, brother. The fun never fucking stops once we get back to the best day of the week, hump day. You gotta tune into the Brother Golf T Vapes YouTube channel, man. Golf T Vapes on YouTube. We fucking got the Foggy Fairway every night, about 9:30 on Wednesday nights. Can't remember if you actually tuned in and did the fucking show this past week, or I think Meter filled in for you.
Meter
but I know
filled
you're
in
supposed to be coming back.
eventually. I was going to come back this week, but I'm fucking exhausted. The new puppy thing is fucking killing me. But we will be back eventually. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Hopefully the puppy doesn't continue to kill me much longer. Things are we're starting to get a handle on it. So we might be all right in the next couple weeks.
Hell yeah. Everybody make sure to fucking show the brother some love. All of his shit will be down in the description as well.
Hey, sir. Oh, for those of you who don't know or are absent-minded or have been listening for a while and still haven't figured out, the meter does more than one thing. In fact, he does many. That's why there's a couple link trees below, one of them being I'm No Joe, the other one being the meter does many things. If you go click on either one of them, it'll take you to all of the many things the meter does do and give you something to get you through to Wednesday. After you're done listening to Christian and the brother and Slow Bake and Contemplate, you're going to have plenty of time till Wednesday. Maybe you take a little break in there just to watch the fights on Saturday night, but then you have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Shit, I may not be back this Wednesday. You might have until next week, Thursday. Who knows? But that's a lot of time to cover. Go and look at all the many things he does do. Go back into the files. Go back to when he was prettier. I mean, it was a few years ago, but it's out there. Might be more than a few years. I may have given him a little too much credit.
Say, I don't know if we've got video logs back that far, but much appreciated either way. Yeah, as they said, there is plenty to keep you occupied here. All of us do our own things. We all collectively do the I'm No Joe thing. You can check out any of us individually down below. You can check out all the I'm No Joe stuff down below. What I do tell you though is that because YouTube has changed things around and they're fucking placing things weird though, we don't do the review shows on the weekends anymore. It wasn't worth the time. What we do now is if there is a finish in any of the big fights going on this weekend, you can kick back over to the youtube.com/at I'm No Joe YouTube channel here. There's a little tab that says shorts. It's a separate own little thing now. If you click on that and just keep that tab loaded and watch it over the course of Friday and Saturday, if there's a big fight that finishes, I will give you a quick little rundown of what the fuck just happened. And depending on which organization it's from, because some of them are assholes, you'll either get a still frame of the finish or a quick little video behind me, but no audio because they all suck. But I will give you the goods of what you need to. Just keep an eye out over there. That being said, that's all we've got for this particular episode. If you did catch us live, we appreciate you. If you didn't, don't fret. We do this pretty much every Thursday before a big combat sports weekend live here on youtube.com/at I'm No Joe. If you didn't catch us live or you don't want to, I understand. I own mirrors as well. Fret not. The week after we go live, all audio version of the podcast drops at anchor.fm/I'm No Joe. You can pick us up through your podcast consumption platform of choice. We're on Google, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're fucking everywhere over there. That being said, if you want to help us out, patreon.com/I'mNoJo. For as little as $1, you help us do what we do, and we tell everybody how awesome you are every time we do the damn thing. That being said, if you like what we get up to, please give us a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you're picking this up. We appreciate you just the same, so make sure you're subscribed and the notifications are turned on, because sometimes they fuck around. The other side of that coin, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing this deep into a podcast you didn't like? Give us a thumbs down and then go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said, that is all we've got for this week's episode. So remember, boys and girls, until next time, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.